Okay, so I am very happy to be the one to introduce your last new afternoon lab. Yay. That probably feels very good to hear if you guys could still feel anything. Okay, so we're going to be talking about loop modeling. Okay, so just in general, loops are regions of the protein that are flexible. Usually they're like unresolved if you have like crystal structure. And they're less amenable to statistical definition, which kind of makes them difficult for structure prediction algorithms. Rosetta does have a fair bit of loop closure algorithms, and we're going to be talking about some of them. So the one we're going to be talking about today is cyclic coordinate descent, and that involves fragment insertion followed by closure via small perturbations, and we'll talk about that more in a sec. There's also kinematic closure, and that involves randomly perturbing the loop and then computing solutions to find a closed conformation. And then other ones include the stepwise assembly. So that's enumerate every conformation during the building and then use cyclic coordinate descent at the end. And then loop hash, splice, and Rosetta antibody, which instead replace loops from the PDB source database. So this is more like a knowledge base loop closure. And then Jacobi, which is similar to KIC and CCD. Okay, so for CCD and KIC, it's kind of like robotics inspired in the sense of like, if you guys kind of imagine like a robot arm, you guys can kind of like picture how it moves. I am instructed to sort of do like, if you guys can imagine sort of like as the arm moves, different segments of it are going to kind of be like moving around in almost like a hierarchical fashion or in like a stepwise fashion, right, to eventually grab what it needs to grab onto. And CCD works pretty similarly to that. It's also, you can kind of think of it like a whip crack, if that's a bit easier to think about. Okay, so how does KIC closure work? So this is a 60 transform. In this case, it's from like a helix boundary to the sheet traversed by the loop. And so you have your Cartesian coordinates, your x, y, z, and then your 3 rotations that you can do. And you can essentially set this up as a system of equations with 6 unknowns, right? So your Cartesians and then your rotations. And you can turn the find psi angles into positions and then pivot. And so this is the solution to the system equations is the ones where you can actually close the loop from start to end. And then non-pivot torsions can be sampled however is convenient. Okay, so in terms of the actual code, how we set this up, so this is how the C+ and Python looks. So you create your loop, and then you can just add to it, and same with the PyRosetta. So you can apply then your loop fold tree to your pose for CCD only. And an important part of this is the cut points. So why cut points? Why do we need a special fold tree? And it's because, you know, when you're dealing with loop closure stuff, you don't want to be perturbing the rest of the protein, right? So you want to be able to stop what you're doing with the loop from affecting the rest of the protein. And so we're going to do this by putting cut points in the loop. And so this is how you did it in lab 4. If you remember that you have, you know, your jumps and your cut points to sort of like define the secondary structure spans. And so then for the loops, because we have cut points, because they're sort of like sectioned off, any perturbations you make to the loops are not going to be disturbing the rest of the secondary structure elements. Obviously that works slightly differently, right, for the ends, but for the loops that you're like doing the loop closure on, they're going to stop before you hit the secondary structure element. Okay. So the CCD loop closure mover, it's just a mover. So it works the way movers work. You can use the default constructor, or you can give it a loop object or others. In this case, we're giving it like a move map as well. In this example, I can just use the setters within the class. This one doesn't do sampling. It just closes the loop and returns it. And the phi psi moves from your protocol is the sampling. talking about the different loop movers that you have and sort of how they relate to each other. So this is just similar to like, the base class, and then you have their derived classes. The two big distinctions that I'm going to talk about in a sec is the difference between the refined and then the perturbed, because you sort of see like two groups here. So the big difference is for perturb, it's using the centroid residue type, and you can sort of imagine because you're using a centroid, it's going to be a bit rougher, right? And so you're going to get more of a perturbation element compared to the refine. And then you can also create a fragment set from a file if you're using the perturbed CCD. This is just where they live, so you can see the difference here. And then just applying a loop mover. This is at least for the C++. You can just, apply it to your pose just like this. Okay, so for the lab today, the protocol that you've been making in all the afternoons so far introduces the chain breaks. And so now we want to add explicit loop closures with the CCD loop closure mover. Hopefully you find that using and implementing this mover is pretty easy, and hopefully that's the point. And for the C++ folks, there's going to be some challenge in refactoring your code. So, I'm but be prepared to provide the correct loop class at the actual closure time. So that's what we're going to be doing. Just going to be adding in a loop closure algorithm to your existing protocol. And that's it. So good luck. Think robot arms. And that's it.